Alright, here we go, looking at opening sevens for an Elves deck versus Sneak and Show deck. And it looks like they will keep, and we're off to the races already with a Cavern on Elves for a Death Raid on turn 1. I think that in this matchup, if Woonghee here spends too much time pondering and preordaining without getting anything going, he's likely to just die to a bunch of elves attacking him repeatedly. I don't think that Daeung will go for like a turn 2, turn 3 natural order unless he's absolutely sure that the course is clear. He does have to be constantly afraid of getting Emrakuled or Grizzlebranded out of the game, so he should go kind of fast, but if he rushes too much, dumps his hand into trying to do a natural order, gets like blown out by a single force of will, then I think that he could easily lose. Post board, I think that this is like way better for him than game 1. He might sort of just try to go off really fast, and then game 2 bring in Cabal Therapies and Thoughtseizes. That should improve things for him. As far as the natural matchup, game 1, I'm not entirely sure who's favored here. But here's a Heritage Druid. Here's a Wirewood Symbiote. No, there's a Heritage Druid. It's a little missequence there. Let's tap the dudes, make some mana. Then you can play your Symbiote. Yes.
아니에요. 카운터가 아니라요. 이게 각 턴당 한 번씩만 쓸 수 있고요. 이 능력은 F를 손으로 올리면은 그 타겟 크리처 언팁 시킬 수 있어요.
I think that was a Quirion Ranger that he had revealed. He's got a couple mana floating. There's a Ranger.
얘는 숲을 올리면은 타겟 크리처 언팁. 얘 능력으로 얘 올리고 얘 언팁 시킬게요.
Alright, return a creature, replay it, untap the Deathrite. So now he's got access to 1 mana, but he didn't have any black sources, so it's not like he can get to work on the life total here. I feel like he actually just missed an attack with the Deathrite was what happened. I don't see any other reason for it to be up right now. Looks like he's putting a sneak attack back, so maybe he has a multiple going on here, or maybe he's not ready and he can draw it soon. And he's probably going to get rid of it. He will shock himself with an Overgrown Tomb. Sometimes that's what we got to do when we're playing Legacy. That is highly unlikely to matter in this match. So maybe he just saved himself, you know, $150 on a Bayou. I mean, what a good deal. Would you like 2 life sometimes, or would you like $150? I don't know. For a lot of us, the answer is clear on one way or the other. And he does not have a Visionary, so this is pretty rough. Like, he is relying on his draw steps, and if he just rips another land or something, then he's not actually getting very much done here. Woonghee is at a virtual 10 now with the Deathrite active. More Shocklands. The Shocklands everywhere, man. I'm glad that these guys are playing, even without the full complement of duels. I'm glad that they are here. So he did get rid of those cards, including the sneak attack that was up there. And he's got to get going, man. I mean, if this doesn't look like a sneak attack or a show and tell next turn, then I feel like you have to shuffle it. You were very close to dying. Okay, so maybe you liked one of those cards. No, yeah, you liked exactly one of those cards. Preordain the other two away. Looks he is desperately digging here. So now he's at an 8. There's enough black sources in play for him to be what, 8, 6, 4 just from Deathrite. I think that he is dead here before he untaps. Provided Daeung is willing to use this Deathrite now, untap, use it again, maybe bounce it, use it again, and attack for 4. Can he do that? He can attack before and then bounce one of the creatures to untap Deathrite and do it again. He's got 8 on the table right now. And Woonghee is making him play through it. I like it. Don't actually scoop until he shows you that he's got the kill. So many Elves lists have only 2 Cabal Therapy. I think I'm more comfortable with a list that has like 3 Thoughtseize, 3 Cabal Therapy in the side, and I would expect them all to come in here. And for Elves to just kind of crush any hand that isn't super fast. And he unfortunately has a mulligan. It looks like he's keeping the 6. And a keep on top, and he's going first, so that could be pretty good for him. If he leads on anything other than like Island Ponder, I'm gonna be super surprised. Okay, well you keep on the top and fetch it away. Okay. I think I just saw some Pyroclasm action on the bottom of his deck. Not surprised by that. Boom, Island Ponder. Alright. Go figure. And the Elves player has, what, a couple of lands, Cabal Therapy, 2 Visionaries. I wonder if turn 1 is just blind Cabal Therapy. It has to be pretty safe. There's an argument for a couple of different cards here. I mean, if you just turn 1 Therapy, you name Show and Tell, I don't see much going wrong there. But first he's going to go get a Dryad Arbor. I can see why you would do that, because this allows you to Cabal Therapy twice on the second turn, whether it be from Elvish Visionary and or using the Dryad Arbor. and it's unlikely for the show and tell player to actually go off this turn. But there is a risk. I mean, sometimes they have to turn 2 hand. So, like, what if he just untapped, played Ancient Tomb, and put a Grizzlebrand into play? What do you actually do? I don't think that the Elves player can beat it. And Woonghee has got a real sense of urgency here as he ponders and preordains repeatedly. He knows that this seemingly innocuous board can just fill up with elves very quickly. So I'm wondering, I'm not sure if I like sacking Dryad Arbor or drawing a card off the Elvish Visionary and then sacking it. Is it resolving? So I don't think that this is resolving. So if it's protecting a card in hand, which already gives a lot of information to our Elves player. Okay, so I don't like this at all. When we force removing show and tell, now it's guaranteed that there's another show and tell in hand. And that's just... So here comes Elvish Visionary. And this is okay because if something goes wrong and the Elvish Visionary doesn't stick around for some reason, you still have the Arbor. Now we can draw a card. He wants to keep the Dryad Arbor, so I guess the Visionary is going away. I guess that makes sense since he has a second Visionary in hand. But by the same token, I feel like this Dryad Arbor isn't that great. He's got another land in hand. I mean, why do we need 3 lands? He's just straight up, you're just going to name show and tell. Your opponent already removed a show and tell to a force at will, so he's protecting another one. Yeah. So he reveals sneak attack, and this was a rough spot from me. First off, he ended up with 2 copies of his namesake card in his hand at once. Very bad. Now, the Elves player is like, you can't keep 2 of the same card in your hand against Elves and expect to keep either of them. So since he didn't have a fatty, I have to feel like, oh, okay. So he was a turn off. That's brutal. He'll surgical the sneak attack. Hey man, you should give your deck to your opponent. That's the fun. So like I was saying, this is a really, really rough spot. This is a situation where you had the kill in hand, and somebody's going to Cabal Therapy you, and if you let the first one resolve, they're probably going to blind name show and tell, and you lose them both, and then they still have a flashback activation. Or if you force it and know that you're probably just going to lose the other one to their flashback, then maybe you keep the sneak attack. Unfortunately, even a topped deck show and tell was not going to save him there. Actually, yes, it would have, because our opponent doesn't respect the Grizzlebrand in hand. I don't see why we're not Cabal Therapying that Grizzlebrand. That's very unsafe. I think you have to give up one of the Visionaries now. Just do it now. Why would you even give him an out? don't get me wrong, I know that the Elves player is very far ahead here. I just sort of want to close the door on our opponent as fast as we can if I'm on the left here. And now there is no hope. And are we going to see an Elves victory without a single natural order? So what could Woonghee have in his hand that he could respond here? X of 3 is interesting. Is this going to be a Leovold? I don't... This appears to be green sunning for a target that is no longer in your library. He might have said X of 3 and he's going to go get a 2 because he's at X of 1. Okay. He might go check his sideboard sheepishly. I have to feel like he was going to go grab a Leovold there. Which would be a fine card. But apparently he removed it from his deck thinking that it is too slow. I don't really know about Elves. Sorry, I don't really know about Leovold and Elves personally, so I'm not sure what the consensus on when you move it around to the sideboard is. But I can tell you that Leovold is a fantastic card against Show and Tell. He is certainly not making this quick. With 2 symbiotes out here, if he gets pyroclasmed or something, it's really not going to be that bad. It's 3 mana. He's got a Cradle activation for 6 now. So, okay, 3 symbiotes out on board. He's no longer afraid of any board sweepers. Definitely not afraid of any single target removal spells. And I think that he is free here to just attack for a couple points every turn, drain you for a couple points every turn. Even without any more cards in his hand, I think he's got him in 2 turns. Make 3 mana, bounce a Visionary, spend 2, cast a Visionary, draw a Deathrite, play a Deathrite with the remaining mana, definitely a 2-turn clock here. And he has yet to find a single copy of Glimpse in either of these games. It's pretty gross. So Elves actually beast moding over the top of Show and Tell here without even the use of its most powerful cards. These cards have just been Green Sun Zenith, Heritage Druid, Deathrite Shaman, Elvish Visionary. Here we go. He found a Show and Tell. He's done it. Okay, so without haste, I think that he is going to die with an Emrakul on the table. That is pretty brutal. Oh, he's got no black mana left right now, so he can't activate Deathrites.
예,
No, I'm pretty sure that Deathrite was summoning Sick Man. Oh no. Woonghee was right there. That Deathrite couldn't be used. That Deathrite was cast on the last turn. That sucks. I don't think that it changes this game whatsoever, but that wasn't right. And I count 9 creatures to attack past Emrakul for 8. This is unnecessary. Although maybe a Cabal Therapy at your opponent is worthwhile here before attack phase. Just do it. I want to see the That's not cool, man. Let's go. Let's just okay. Yeah. Alright, good game to Elves. Good game.
아까도 걔는 이렇게 이거를 샤머로 안 올라가는